how did I get through everything that my mother put me through? And it wasn't just my mother, although that was more than enough. I also had trauma from my grandparents and even the rest of the family, the way that they bought into the narrative and held the narrative that my mother painted around me, that smear campaign. So as a child growing up, I didn't have anyone that I could trust or go to or confide in. I had some people who showed me love, who showed me affection, but I didn't have a safe space. And fortunately for me, in this crazy sort of way, because my mother did drugs and because my brother also in his early teens to up until the time that he left our house and ended up going to live with my aunt and uncle. Really, he's not my brother, he's my mother's son, but anyway, for the purposes of this video. Up until that time, he was also doing drugs, and my mother and him had a lot of conflict over that. Not because my mother was trying to get him to stop, but because she was angry that her drugs would go missing. And by drugs, I mean for her, a lot of it was prescription uppers and downers, black beauties and the lewds. So for those who are from my era, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And there was always, and to my knowledge, the last time that my eldest daughter went to my mother's house, there was still hash in her freezer. And, you know, I recognize that, you know, other things are legal now that weren't then. I have to be careful what I say. I figure like hash isn't gonna get smacked, right? On these videos on TT. Like, we can exploit children, but we can't use the word abuse, for example. There's a lot of stuff happening here that I don't think people are really aware of that I'm finding really upsetting. But anyway, getting back to how did I cope? Disassociation, imaginary friends, my imaginary world, getting lost in the families on TV where, you know, I would wish that those TV moms were my moms, books, music, art, and yeah, that's how I coped. And when I ran away and ended up on the streets, because of the drugs that I saw around my house, and not the drugs themselves, but actually the way that I saw both my mother and my brother not have control, I didn't ever want to be out of control like that. So that's why I luckily never fell into self-medicating through drugs to be able to cope.